getting to the first subject, and we'll do one or two, and then we'll go over to Rumble. There is a town in Ontario called Swastika. It's actually right near Timmins, Ontario, which is birthplace of Shania Twain. I drove through it. I've got to tell you, I was horrified when I saw that sign. I just kept on driving. I could. Two funny stories that'll segue into this. Did you hear about this, Robert? This was out of Nova Scotia. The guy got a license plate, which some people thought was called "Grab Her," and they thought it was, a shout out to Trump. The guy has a Germanic last name, which is Graber, and they actually took his license plate from him. He appealed the decision. It was not overturned. He applied to the Supreme Court, who declined to hear it. So this guy can't have his horrible Germanic last name on his Nova Scotia license plate. All that to, jokingly segue into the racist names in California. Robert, what the heck is going on?
So California passed a law that prohibits any community in California from using a name to identify itself that is racist or sexist. And in particular, it has identified the use of the word squaw. So in Fresno, there's a place called Squaw Valley. And the city and the county of Fresno are suing the state of California because of all the expense it's going to incur trying to change all the maps, the signs, the markers, all the businesses that would have to change their names and locations. That it was like, this is going to be a huge expense, and nobody cares here in Fresno about the fact it's called Squaw Valley, and they don't think the state of California has the authority to dictate this in the first place. But it shows you the signs of where things are going, that there's actually laws trying to pass on the books to prohibit the reference.
Offensive.
Offensive. Yes, it's now that's the new dictionary definition. They've added, to it. Now it can mean other things, of course, but because they've said it's stereotypes, the state of California is trying to force an extraordinary amount of expense on people just to go back and change their names to have politically correct names. So the war on, it's what Trump said all the way back during the Virginia debate, where he's like, where does this end exactly? This changing of names, these changing of statues, these changing of streets. Is it Thomas Jefferson next? Is George Washington next? Well, apparently any reference that offends or upsets anybody is first on the agenda. So it's now a pending lawsuit by the county of Fresno whether the state of California has the legal authority to force people. Now, by the way, the Biden Department of Interior is doing the same thing, but they're limiting it to federal lands. But so they, for example, required changes of names of the Department of Interior near Squaw Valley or anything else so that they can remove the historical reference to it. And it's also this kind of attempt to obliterate history at times.
That's what I was just about to say. That it's like I was listening to a podcast on Joe Rogan. It was very surprisingly interesting. One of somebody who used to be in the band for Nirvana, one of the other Soundgarden, I think, and who became went to the military, went to Afghanistan. And, as he's going through Afghanistan, you're coming across like ancient Greek ruins. They got into the discussion about how, the Taliban blew up statues of the past, blew up the Greek inspired statues of Buddha. And it's a question of, it's sort of in another way, exactly what they do when they do redubs of old movies. And they try to destroy the old version, replace it with the new flavor of the day, the new cult of the day. And it's another method of tearing down statues, tearing down history, rewriting history by obliterating it. It's a way of usurping culture and usurping history by deleting it and creating a new history.